I remember when I was younger and I played Minecraft on my iPod. There was no Ender Dragon, nor was there a Nether. I played Minecraft back then simply to build and have fun. It's been years since I decided to play like that, and as much as I would like to make a Minecraft Let's Play, I'm not sure it will do well with the algorithm, especially with the fact that I'm a small channel. In order to make the series more interesting and to prevent me from just sinking time into the world and burning out, I decided to set up an ever-changing world border. The world border will be set by my subscriber count on YouTube. The day was January 18th. I opened Minecraft and started a new world. Confining myself to 234 blocks based on the subscribers I had at the time, I began collecting my first wood. I proceeded to craft some basic tools and traverse the small area that I was given. I spawned between a plains biome and a snow biome. With no structures within sight, I began my exploration downwards and began a mine. Before night fell, I made a rudimentary base and a bed before sleeping for the first night. Worlds with confined borders tend to spawn enemies in larger groups, and I was not prepared to deal with that yet. In the morning, I realized that food was going to be a huge issue and began working on a farm for the second day. I spent my third day mining and finishing up the farm. On day 4 is when I actually began working on my base. I made a slab roof that looked horrendous, then corralled the chickens because they were the only animal I could breed at the time. On day 5, I cleared up space beside my house and built a proper chicken coop for the chickens to live peacefully. I spent the following day building an enclosure for the sheep and cows. Both day 7 and day 8 were spent on me collecting materials and trying to improve my house before getting distracted and collecting a bunch of different dyes for different sheep colors. I ended my session there and returned a week later. I turned the first session into a short and managed to get to 310 subscribers when I logged back in. I started by mining all the way to the deep slate layers. You know, I kinda miss strip mining for diamonds. It was so simple to do and you could just listen to music and relax while doing it. Unfortunately, deep slate takes forever to mine through, and caves are so big that you can find plenty of diamonds just by wandering around. Using the power of subtitles, I found lava and used that to find a cave system. I explored until I hit the world border, managing to find 6 diamonds in the process. I also found a geode for some amethyst farming, and a zombie I killed dropped a carrot, giving me a second crop to farm. After returning to the surface, I decided to decorate my farm and make a second farm for carrots. I used slabs to create a border around the plots and used waterlogged slabs to prevent the water from freezing. Lastly, I used lanterns for a light source in the center of the farms. While playing, I asked my younger brother if he had any ideas for what I should build, and he said I should build a comment sign. I made a simple wall and added signs to them for my favorite comments from each short. I once again returned to trying to improve my house. I have no idea how it keeps getting worse every time I look at it, but it does. After that embarrassment, I hid underground and mined some obsidian for another portal later. Deciding that I needed something even worse looking to cover up my disaster that I call a house, I began the construction of a mob farm, only to learn that after I was done, that it didn't even work. I returned a week later, this time with 322 subscribers. I started by trying to figure out why the mob farm wasn't working. Knowing that there can only be a certain amount of mobs that can spawn at a time, I began lighting up a cave system near the mob farm. While lighting up the cave, I learned that it connected to an abandoned mineshaft. While lighting up the area, I saw a cave spider spawner and had a great idea. String is a useful resource given that it can be traded for emeralds. Making a string farm that works while I'm AFK will be very helpful when I get villagers. While working on the farm, a creeper snuck up behind me, and I died. I can't say I'm surprised I ended up in hell. Should I mention that basalt deltas are by far my least favorite biome in all of Minecraft? After a bit of exploring my eternal damnation, I collected some glowstone, some magma blocks, and got set on fire. At the edge of my world border, I found another fortress. After killing a few blazes, I decided to return to the land of the living. I immediately went back to doing the same thing I did when I died. With some effort and whatever random blocks I could manage, I finally finished a string farm. What's more surprising is it actually works. I decided to return to the surface and make some potions. Gaining access to potions would give me one of the most important things in a world like this: villagers. I brewed a few weakness potions, grabbed a couple golden apples, and waited for night. Unfortunately, no zombie villagers spawned that night, so I logged off to try again later. Week 4 was a shorter session. I logged in and increased my world border to 379 for my subscribers at the time. The first thing I did was find zombie villagers at night and convert them into regular villagers. I managed to get 2 of them. The first one became a fisherman for the string trade, and the second a cleric. While librarians can give enchanted books, a lot of their other trades are kinda bad. Clerics, however, offer a variety of different blocks and resources that can be much more useful in a limited world such as this one. Since food was still an issue despite my multiple farms, I began looking into alternative ways to get food. It must have been the hunger getting to me because I made something that enters the moral gray area. I call it the ethical chicken farm. It has chickens that are enclosed in a 1x1 space on a hopper. Whenever a chicken lays an egg, it gets collected and put into a dispenser. The dispenser then throws the egg onto a half slab. Because baby chickens are half a block tall, they won't burn on the lava above them. However, when they grow up, they will be a block tall, meaning that they will get burned immediately and I get cooked chicken for free. The last thing I did was find a guardian at the very border of my world. I saw an ocean monument past it and decided to keep note of that for when I can access it in the future. Week 5 was the first week that I streamed my normal session. I made it to 541 subscribers and became a YouTube partner. 500 may not seem like a large number, but even getting this far astonishes me. So, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider it. Join in and become a part of my Minecraft world. The stream started with me collecting cherry logs from the cherry grove biome that I now had access to. Cherry trees are by far my favorite type of wood in Minecraft, so I had to use them for a build. Deciding to completely start over my house was a good option, so I began destroying it. During this time, I asked a seemingly innocent question that spiraled out of control thanks to the power of chat. Like, imagine trying to punch to break a cubic meter of glass. It's gonna hurt. Enthralled by the idea of an IRL glass block and the concept of punching through it, I changed what I was doing and began building a shrine for it. The glass block must be worshipped, for one day it shall be a sacrifice. I got a simple structure down before returning to my house. I got the exterior down, but I felt it was missing something. Something that would break up the coloring a bit. While trying to think of blocks that would work, I decided to head to the ocean monument to get sea lanterns. Is this a good time to mention I don't really know how to fight guardians? I did not think I would end up back here so soon. However, being in the nether gave me an idea that crimson stems would be a good type of wood to add accents to the house, so I began traversing the nether. It just seemed that there wasn't any crimson biomes in my world border. Just before I concluded my search and failure, I saw part of a crimson biome at the very corner of my world and grabbed some wood before returning to the overworld. I added the much needed accents to my house and concluded the stream by making an automatic sugarcane farm. I want bookshelves for enchanting later, and I don't really want to have to manually mine sugarcane. Week 6 was the week of building and structures. I started the stream with 675 subscribers. However, I played a bit off camera. Now normally, off camera gameplay means I grinded for resources off camera. However, I'm not normal. I spent hours on this world, not bettering my equipment, but building. I could go over the building process for each thing I did, but that's not very interesting. The first thing I finished was the glass shrine. Despite the entrance not being finished yet, I'd say I did a pretty good job working on it. The other build I did was a giant spider head. The spider head has a water elevator that leads directly to my string farm, as well as my fisherman that gives me emeralds. Finally, I finished the exterior of my house. It's nothing special, but I'd say it's the best house I've ever built in Minecraft so far. I started off the stream by decorating my newly finished house. It's a 2-room house with a bedroom and a kitchen. It's a simple design, but I think it works well. I do like the larger bed and the particle effects in the leaves as a nice touch. After I finished my interior, I went to the corner of my world to find a village. The villagers were bugged and were locked to their profession, so unless I needed an armorsmith or a farmer, this village wasn't that much help. On my way back, I tamed 2 wolves and kept them safe in my home. If anyone has any names for them, please leave a comment down below. Heading off into the other corner of the world, I discovered an ocean ruin, only to learn that it had 1 building in it. But that 1 building did contain a buried treasure map. To my surprise, the buried treasure was actually within my world border. I went to dig it up and got a Heart of the Sea from it. I decided to finish up the stream by attempting to make the comment sign look better. I failed miserably at this. Week 7 was the final session within the 100-day milestone. I started the world with 677 subscribers and began by heading to the village. When night fell, a zombie villager spawned, so I led it back to my spider head. While trying to cure it, it managed to take damage from my Thorns 1 armor and died from it. Of course, it was after I used the golden apple, so remember, take off the Thorns armor before dealing with zombie villagers. I then decided to kidnap the villager whose house was outside the world border. Taking him back by boat, I decided to leave him in the middle of a frozen lake until I figured out how to move him easier. I finally hit the 100-day milestone and went to check on my cleric, only to learn that he got turned back into a zombie. Maybe it was the sheer amount of time I spent on this world, but I came up with an idea to move my villagers that can only be described as a Geneva suggestion. I converted the homeless zombie into a zombie villager, then proceeded to use myself to lure both of them back into my spider head before curing them at the same time. This surprisingly worked without any issue, and has taught me that having no morals whatsoever can make things a lot easier. With the sun setting on my 100th day, I can look back on the world so far. It started off as a mere 234 blocks and has since tripled within those 100 days. I cannot express this enough. Thank you so much to anyone who's even watched my videos. My dream has always been to become a content creator, and I'm getting closer and closer to reaching that dream by the day. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.